For coming out tonight. We're greatly appreciative you're here. Very special night. A night, ladies and gentlemen, with Carlos Baerga. So people, we certainly want to thank, other than Carlos tonight, you for coming out, obviously, and the sponsors, specifically our friends at Hollywood Gaming, certainly. We have Prestige Promotions, Sebastiani Trucking, and Austin Town Plaza. If we can give a round of applause to them real fast to make sure it's happening tonight. Well, we all know why we're here, but how did we get here? We got a little video clip to show you here and why we're here tonight.
Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Music Norman Knight. You know, the last time the Indians won a World Series was in 1948 under the shrewd leadership of Bill Veeck. I know, I was there as a youngster. The last time they won a pennant, or their division for that matter, was in 1954 when they won an American League record 111 games. But mistakes by the lake became routine in the 41 years that followed. 4 decades of frustration for the tribe and their loyal fans. A comedy of errors that had no one in Cleveland laughing. Was there an evil spirit haunting Municipal Stadium created by a curse cast by former manager Bobby Baerga? Or from the trade of Rocky Colavito? Nah.
Blocked in this ball, makes a running catch. It goes, it's gone, home run. Baerga diving to his right, gloves, goes to second one. Vizquel leaping, throws to first, double play. On the track in front of the wall, leaps up, makes the catch. Indian fans have waited 41 years. The Cleveland Indians are in the World Series. You guys haven't seen nothing yet.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the man that is with us tonight, known for his superb, and I mean superb abilities. He began his career in Cleveland when he got traded here from San Diego in the early 90s, accumulating impressive batting statistics, earning 3 All-Star appearances, 2 Silver Slugger awards. He was considered one of the Major League Baseball's hardest-hitting middle infielders with a superb bat speed and switch-hitting power, which we're going to talk about, and the first ever player to hit a home run from both sides of the plate in the same inning. He's a member of the Cleveland Indians Hall of Fame and a member of your 1995 ALCS champion Cleveland Indians. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for number 9 in your programs, number 1 in your heart, Carlos Baerga.
Good night, everybody. What an honor God gave me to be here today. I want to say thanks to God. He's the one that put everything together and put this day in the calendar to be. We have great people, great bunch of people, fans that I love, and I always say everywhere I go, this is my second city. I'm born in Puerto Rico, but I feel like I'm born here too in Cleveland, and it's been very special for so many years. 30 years. 30 years we're gonna have. No, I've been, well, that was in 95, for 35 years that I've been coming to Cleveland. I remember that first day, it was amazing. Snow,
Yeah.
So I never
Surprise,
gonna forget
surprise.
about it. My first game in the building, so I'm never gonna forget about it. But it was very nice. What an honor to be here. Thank to Jim, his family, all the sponsors, to put this together. And every time Jim called me, I'm there for him. He's an awesome guy, a guy that loves what he do, and he always helping people. So I love that.
We're going to tell a lot of stories tonight, Carlos. We're going to make sure that mic is popping for you.
Yes.
If you can't hear him, let us know, okay? We'll make sure we take care of it.
Yes.
So everybody knows kind of who you are now, but one of the most interesting stories that I came across in doing some of the homework was you didn't start playing baseball until you were 8 years old. 8 years old, so then 10 years old, you're part of the national team in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
16 years old, you're there signed to the major league contract with the San Diego Padres.
Yes.
Walk me through that 8 years.
Well, when I was 8 years old, my father used to play baseball. That was his dream. He wanted to sign as a professional player, but he was like this guy right here, tall, very tall.
It's always being tall, right?
And at that time, they don't sign players short. So he said to me, and I want to put everything on you. I want you to, let's work together, running, swimming, going to the beach, running in the sand, working out, hitting behind our house, going to practice, stuff like that. So he put everything together on myself. And I remember since I was 10 years old, I started representing Puerto Rico. I did it when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And he did something that I never gonna forget about. He always put me against people that was older than me. He don't want me to be the best of my age. He want me to work hard to become the best. So at the beginning, I was kind of pissed off on it. I said, "Why? That's not good. Let me be my people. The people they got my age." But you know what? It teach me something because later on, that I'm gonna talk about it. It happened something to me that he remind me. You remind me why I put you to play against people that was older than you. When I was 15 years old, I was playing in the league in Puerto Rico that I wasn't supposed to be playing. The guy that was the second baseman in that league, he died. And they need a second baseman. So a friend of mine that played with that team tell the league, we have a second baseman, let's have Carlos Baerga. Well, he's 15 years old, and you have to have 60 years old to play in that league. So they did something, the president of the league, he signed a contract. They watched me practice and say, well, we like this guy. They put it in the team. So they did something in the contract that I start playing in there. And that's when all the scouts and everybody say, wow, this guy have unbelievable talent. Let's do something about it. But when I signed, when I was 16 years old, I remember that I went to spring training. When I went to spring training, something happened to me that I woke up, to the clubhouse, and then in the morning, we went outside to do some exercise before we start practicing. I see so many players in there, almost 600 players. And then in the other side was the billy club, almost 75 players. And my head said, my mind went through, oh my God, how am I gonna make it to the village? It's gonna take me 10 years to get there. So I say, wow, I started getting like a worry about a little bit, I kind of scared. I say, what was gonna happen to me? You know what happened to me my first 10 at-bats? 10 strikeouts in a row. When I was killing the league, everywhere I go, in the little leagues, I used to be the best, MVP all the time. So I called my father, I don't remember like today, I called my father, I said, Daddy, I don't think I'm gonna hit here. These people are too big, too strong. I don't think I have the talent to be here. I want to go back home. I say, no. You remember every time that I put you to play with all the people, that you don't like it, but you know what? I did it with a purpose. I know that you was going to hit a wall. And I'm here to tell you today that you're not coming back home. You're going to start having fun, and you're going to start working harder to make it. And you're gonna make it. You don't sign to come back home. You sign to stay there, and you're gonna make it to the big leagues. And I give thanks to God that I have a father that, that right away, he motivated myself, to became the player that I was. If it was another father, say, come on, let's go back home. But my father said, you're not coming here. You're staying over there because you have a lot of talent, but you deserve to work hard, to get it. And that's why I make it.
Props to dad, right? Without dad, you're quitting, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you accomplish that dream, you find your motivators, you're in San Diego-ish, you're in the program, and then you get traded to one of the greatest places in the world this time of year, Cleveland, Ohio. How do you kind of walk yourself through that in your mind, that you're going from San Diego to Cleveland?
Well, at that time I was in the minor leagues, so I wasn't in San Diego. So I went to Charleston, South Carolina. I went to Wichita, Kansas in AA. I went to A-ball, AA, and then I went to Las Vegas to AAA. So when I finished that year in AAA, I went down. In all those years, I made the All-Star game. I made the All-Star game in A-ball, AA, and AAA. So I went to Puerto Rico to play winter ball. When I went to Puerto Rico, I win the MVP of the league on winter ball over there, and that's when the Cleveland Indians make a trade. Myself and Sandy Alomar for Joe Carter. At that time, I was happy because the second baseman for the San Diego Padres was Robbie Alomar. So I was going back again to AAA. So when I got that trade, I said, wow, this is my opportunity right here. I'm going to go to spring training. I'm going to give everything I have over there to make it. But you know what happened? The second baseman for Cleveland in spring training, a year before, was Jerry Brown. You remember that he finished second in the league in hitting. We have a shortstop, we have a Bruce Jacoby in third base. So they have the whole team in there. For me to make the club, it wasn't, at 100%, it was like 25%. You know what? I did something that I have to do. Hit in spring training and show everybody the talent that I have. And I remember that I finished hitting like 400 or something like that, with like 3 homers, 14 RBIs, something like that. And John McNamara, that was the manager at that time, he said to John Hart and Peter, he said, I want this kid to make the club. And they said, no, he's going back to AAA. He's too young. I was 20 years old at that time. So John McNamara started fighting for me, and you know what? They had to take me to the big leagues. And that's how I make it, to the big leagues, to Cleveland, to the beautiful Cleveland. Snow my first 2 games of the year in the big leagues. It was very nice, but you know what? I was happy because I was in the big league. I don't care. That's why, I always say, this is, my story wasn't that good, but then it changed and it became one of the best.
Everybody talks about, you see it on social media nowadays, everything, literally everything, every call up you see on social media. Before the days of social media, what was it like when you actually did get that call up to the big leagues, when they said, hey, you're going to put on a major league uniform? Was it emotional for you?
It was emotional because that's what you work for. You don't sign just to make that money. You sign to make it to the big leagues. And that's I work for the Cleveland Guardians, and I'm a special advisor for them. So I go through the minor leagues, I go to Dominican to talk to these kids, and they give them a lot of money. 16 years old, making 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. With 16 years old, that's a lot of money for them. So I need to talk to them about, you don't sign just to make that money. You want to make it to the big leagues. That's what it's all about. I know that it's a good money, but you know what? If you start playing baseball and they sign you as a baseball player, let's put everything together to get there, and you're going to have both. And for you're going to make your parents proud of you because you make it to the big leagues. So that's what it's all about. So when I had that opportunity, to make it to the big leagues, I was very happy. They let me know the last day of spring training. They said, bring the luggage, and there's 2 boxes. The last one going to AAA, the first one going to the big leagues. Put on the first one, I say, oh, thank you, God, thank you. I make it. So that was the best announce that I have, and it was very special.
That's amazing, but when you got to the big leagues, you made impact. Specifically, 1993, and it was in your intro that we read a little earlier, a home run right-handed, and then a home run left-handed. That is enough to be a Hall of Famer in any league, but you did it in the same inning. I don't think that's ever been done ever before, and it hasn't been done since. Walk me through your mindset. You hit that first home run, and then you get in there the second time, and were you thinking, I'm going to go yard? Or was it just magic, like a movie?
Let me explain to you what happened. That day, it was a special day. I got 2 doubles, my first 2 at-bats. My third at-bat, a 3-2 count, I hit a grand slam against Steve Howe. Then we keep hitting in the same inning, and Alvaro Espinosa hit a homer. When I came to hit again, they throw to my head. We almost got in a fight. So they put everybody, back again. So I say, whatever he throw the ball, I'm gonna swing hard no matter what. And I'm gonna do it. Boom, I hit the ball. But I never thought that it was a record. I just say, it's a homer. I came to the dugout, and everybody was going crazy. And then when I looked to the scoreboard, they said it was a record. The first time that happened, I say, what happened? What I did? It's a homer, that's it. They said nobody did that. The first player to hit a homer from both sides of the plate. And in the same inning, I say, wow. With the history of the game, Mickey Mantle, Eddie Murray, all the great players, and I'm the first one. I'm blessed. So I remember that I walked into the clubhouse after I talked to the press. So when I walked into the clubhouse, this guy came in and said, give me your uniform, give me your cleats, give me the glove, give me everything. I said, no, that's mine. Because I don't know that much English, at that time. So I said, no, that's mine. Leave it there. I said, no, this is going to the Hall of Fame. And that's when I realized what I did.
Did you always know? Yeah, give it up. I mean, everybody in this room just wishes they were good at one side of the plate, as good as you are at both. I mean, were you always a switch hitter? Who taught you to be a switch hitter? Is that something you drove yourself to do?
My father. When I started playing at 8 years old, he said, I want you to hit from both sides of the plate because I don't want you, when you get to the big leagues, I was 8, and he said that to me. When you get to the big leagues, I don't want the manager to put you just against the righty or against the lefty. You're gonna play regular no matter what. And that was the best advice that he gave me, and that was a gift. Because right now, if you watch the game, there's some righties are nasty, and there's some lefties are are nasty too. You can imagine hitting from the left side. That's why I say Barry Bonds is the best hitter I ever played with. Manny Ramirez was a special player too from the right side. So those players, to hit from one side, and he, became the best player of the game. That's very special, especially when the pitchers that they have to face. And this time everybody throwing 98, 99, 100. That's very special, to do it. So I was blessed that my father gave me that and put that in my mind and start working hard every day. It's hard because you cannot be working just one side more than the other one. You have to work 50% on one side, 50% on the other side. So it's not like today I'm going to work from the right side and I forget from the left side. No, you have to be together because you can get hurt. Because you make a swing from this side, and then for 3 days you don't make it from the other side, you can get a swing and you can put a wicket, something like that. So you have to make sure that you do both sides. Yeah.
So that's 1993 that you do that, and you're in the that year you're in beautiful Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, majestic.
My favorite ballpark to hit. I love that ballpark. A lot of people don't like it, but I like it. I hit so good in that ballpark. My numbers, if you go in and check my numbers there was unbelievable. I don't know what it is. I see the ball very big. It was a very, how do you say, wide the ballpark. So I get a lot of doubles in there too. So I love it. I love that ballpark. That's why, I say, well, I know you're going to talk about it, but when we moved to the new ballpark, awesome. I was so happy. This is new. But the ballpark that I miss, because I see the ball so good in there, that I miss it.
When we talked on the phone, you said moving from Municipal Stadium, which you loved, to Jacobs Field was like going to Disney World.
Oh, yeah.
Explain that.
Well, before we go to there, 1993, last game of the season. I don't know if you guys remember, maybe it was in that game. You know that I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Do you guys know that? No? I got an infection in my leg. I hit a foul ball 2 weeks before the season was over. Then my ankle was so big and it got infected. So I have cellulite. That's what it's called? Yeah. So they put me in the hospital. I cannot get out. They played the first 2 games of the last game of the season against the White Sox. The ballpark was packed. It was the last day, remember? Everybody wanted to be there because that was the last day Municipal Stadium playing baseball because we were moving to the Jacob Field. So I got on the phone and I say to the GM, I say, hey, take me out of the hospital. I need 1 more hit to get 200 hits. I'm gonna go. I'm going to the ballpark, to the ballpark because I'm gonna get that hit and I come back here. So that's what I did. That's what I did. I said to the doctor, let me go. I went to the ballpark. They put me to play. You know what happened to me? I was so dizzy because I was 2 weeks just with getting I did stuff like that. So I was very dizzy. I started running and everything was moving like that, stuff like that. I said, oh my God, what I'm doing. That day I was doing DH. So my last at bat, I bumped the ball and the ball stayed right in the line. I got the 200 hits. I got to first base and from there I went straight to the hospital for 1 more week. For 1 more week, but you know what I did it? Because that was the second time that I became the first second baseman in the American League. I still the only second baseman in the American League with 200 hits, 100 RBIs, 100 runs, over 20 homers, and hit 300. And it was a pleasure to do it.
So when you get out of the hospital, there's this beautiful ballpark waiting for you. I mean, obviously you love Muni. What was the Jake like when you guys first walked into it? I mean, just probably you said Disney World. What was it like for you guys first time you got to lay eyes on it?
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. Municipal Stadium, I love it, but I love it in the field. Inside the clubhouse, the worst. So little. And then every ballpark we go, when we play in a road trip, you see everybody. You see the whole players in there, pitchers, catchers, infielder, outfielder. In Municipal Stadium, we have the infield and the infield and the outfield, catchers and pitchers. They have to go to the second floor. So you never see your team. That was crazy. I've never seen that before. That was so bad in that ballpark. That was unbelievable. And the kitchen was so small. The weight room was this whole thing right here. We have one bicycle, one set of dumbbells, stuff like that, and we don't have anything. So the ballpark was the worst inside the clubhouse. But then when we moved to the Jacob Field, man, we step up, to go into Disney World. We got a swimming pool. We have a jacuzzi. We have a weight room so big like that. The clubhouse was so nice. The trainer room, very big. It was very special. And then to see that ballpark packed on the first day, wow, it was amazing. It was amazing. I can't even imagine what the fans would feel that way, that day when you sit down there. It was very, very, very nice.
So you have that beautiful day, packed ballpark, and if I remember correctly, there's a big unit out there, 60 feet, 6 inches away from you. Talk about opening day against Randy Johnson.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Everybody. I always say when you play this game, or you're gonna do a concert, singer, or maybe to do a comedy show, or anything like that, you always get kind of like nervous a little bit. We was nervous because with new ballpark, the president was there too, Clinton, yes? Yeah, he was there too. We facing the best pitcher of the game at that time, Randy Johnson. So all the attention was putting in the Cleveland Indians team. And I remember that Randy Johnson started throwing, and we said, oh my God, this guy's nasty today. We better do something. You know what? We don't start doing anything through the 8th inning. He was throwing a no-hitter. That was unbelievable. But you know what? Sandy Alomar got the first base hit, and we played 12 innings, but nobody left the ballpark. Everybody stayed there. And from that day on, we got that win, from that day on, there was a special time for the Cleveland Indians fans and players like me, because we got 455 days in a row. That ballpark packed every day. That was a record in the big leagues, and you guys make it happen. It was an awesome time for us in there.
So the 1994 season was right around when I was just starting to get into it, right? In Little League, all that stuff. You guys were my guys. And for those of you who don't know, many do, 1994, bad year for baseball. Cut short with the strike. You guys arguably were on your way to a World Series championship.
Yes.
Talk to me about what that ride was like for you.
It was hard. It was hard because we were playing great baseball. We have, they signed Dennis Martinez. They bring other exercisers, Eddie Murray to our team. So our team was our offense was unbelievable. Our pitching staff too, with Nagy and Jose Mesa closing the game. There was a very special time that we have. We are in first place, right there, one game in front of the Chicago White Sox. So we was playing a great baseball, and then when they said the strike came in, everything stopped. It was the worst feeling that we have, because I believe that we have the opportunity to go to the World Series last year and maybe win it. It was so hard. It very hard, and it was hard for me too, because you know what? July 18, when the strike came in, my number was unbelievable. I was gonna do the third year in a row, the 200 hits, 100 RBIs, stuff like that. I got 80 RBIs in July 18, 19 homers. I was going for another great year, stuff like that, and then the season stopped, and I was pissed. I want to keep playing.
We were too.
Yeah, but it was, it happens. But we did it in 1995.
Well, I was just going to, a perfect segue, right into 1995. It felt like the entire team had a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
It felt like you guys got cheated in 94, and you were out to prove it in 95. A couple key additions to the roster. Walk me through what it was like opening day in that ballpark. And it looked like a different team, but it was the same guys. You just were a little bit more inspired, I guess.
Yes, I remember that we had the first meeting opening day, and we say, hey guys, I think we got some unfinished business. We need to finish that this year. We have the team to do it. We bring the players. I remember that we bring Dave Winfield to our team too. That he played with us, and I said, this is another year experience that we have. I think we're gonna go all the way. And I remember from the first day, we have the best team in the league playing baseball in there. You guys make it happen for us. No matter what, if we were losing in the 7th, in the 8th, we know we was gonna come back. We were cocky. We was a cocky team. Every time we step in the field, anywhere we go, the fans follow us everywhere. And they know that we were gonna come back no matter what. So it became, G. Tommy hit a home run in the 9th, Albert Bell, Paul Sorrento, Eddie Murray, Manny Ramirez. You guys remember the homer that Manny hit against Dennis Eckersley to win the game? It was very special. So, we made so many great things, in that year. There was a special year, and then when we make it to the playoff, when we win, when we clinch, then I remember that time, like it is today, we start walking through center field, and we put the flag, up in there. It was something, a feeling that I'm never gonna forget about. And that was we accomplished something, but we want to go to the World Series. So we know that we were gonna have a tough time. We were gonna play against Boston. Then we went to Seattle, and I remember Game 7 against Randy Johnson. That game was unbelievable. But we went with a strategy. I was talking to somebody before, and I say, we got a meeting before the game. And I remember that we talked about what we need to do to beat Randy Johnson. That year he won 21 games, you remember? They win the Cy Young that year. And we said, well, let's start bunting on him so he get pissed off. We have to get him out of the game, mentally, so we can score runs and stuff like that. And Kenny Loston bunt the ball. He throw the ball away, he got to second base. Omar bunt the ball again, he throw the ball away, and then I got a base hit. We score right away. So we put pressure on the team, and that day we win the game to go to the World Series, and never gonna forget about what. That was the best flight we ever had, going back home and see all the fans in the airport and in the city, all over waiting for us, I'm never gonna forget about that. That was very special.
So you get to go to the World Series, you punch your ticket, the ALCS champions. You guys faced a tough road to get there. Arguably one of the tougher roads in MLB history to get there with the pitchers you faced. And then you turn the page and it's the Atlanta Braves with one of the toughest rotations of all time.
Yeah.
What was the feeling going into it? Because I'm sure just being in the World Series itself was, you were wide-eyed with all the media there and you feel like you made it, but you still had 4 games to win.
Yeah.
What was that like, that experience for you and your teammates?
It was a great one, but I think getting there, I think without experience, it hit our walls in there. And we was facing the best pitching staff, in the league for the last 5 years. Greg Maddux, Don Glavine, Joe Smoke, Steve Avery, stuff like that. And we have a better team, but they have the pitching. So I always say pitching can beat good hitters, stuff like that. We have to go like this when they pitch really good against us, and then you have an umpires. Yeah. Then they call it pitch outside. Yeah. So it's hard to win like that. But you know what? They played a great. That was a great game. You remember 1-1 in the 8th. That's when David just hit the homer, stuff like that. So we played really good. It was devastating for us. I remember that myself and Julian Tavares. We start crying in the dugout, and it was a very hard moment for us because we thought that the team that we have, we were going to go all the way, and we feel like disappointed that I know you guys was waiting for this, for us to win and stuff like that. So you guys make us feel better when we are right at the airport and we see everybody there. We see everybody in the city, close to the ballpark. It makes us feel better because I've never been in an airplane that was so silent. Nobody talked. It was so quiet. And before, because we used to beat everybody, we would have a party there. We have music, we got everything. And that day, nobody talked. There was no music. I don't think nobody drank either. It was the worst flight back home that we had. It was tough.
Let's talk about some of your teammates. I know that you're near and dear to. You were like the catalyst, the straw that stirred the drink for a lot of that. The guy next to you that you guys had a lot of fond memories, I'm sure, Omar Vizquel. Talk about Omar and the relationship you've had with him.
Omar, the best, man. The best shortstop that God gave me the opportunity to play with. I played with Omar. I played with Ray Ordonez, one of the best shortstop too. Ozzie Smith. I played in two. I represent the USA in Japan. I went twice with Ozzie Smith. I played the All-Star game with Cal Ripken, but I never have a shortstop like Omar Vizquel. Playing with him, it was so special. This guy, I never see everybody. This guy is like he's dancing in shortstop. He make everything so easy for and he helped me too with my defense. The mentality to practice, to prepare myself for the game. He wasn't going to change it. So Omar was very, very special. And then to have Omar and Kenny Lofton in front of me, that was 100 RBIs no matter what. So I was blessed for that. Yeah.
Let's talk about Kenny. I mean, you saw the video. He had some chops on him to call out teams, and this is, we're not done yet. What was it like to see Kenny Lofton lead off every single game, and the speed that he had and the moxie that he brought to the Indians?
He was one of the key for us. I remember that trade that John Hart made with the Houston Astros. When he bring Kenny Lofton to our team in 1993, I remember that he talked to Rod Carew. You guys remember Rod Carew, the Hall of Famer? And he talked to Rod Carew, and Rod Carew spent a month with Kenny Lofton talking about hitting, bunting, stuff like that. Because Kenny, when he came to our team, Kenny was a basketball player. He got the speed, but he don't know how to hit. He wasn't a good burner either. So he worked hard to become the player that he became. So that's why I always say Kenny was a spark for our team. He was the one that started everything, bunting the ball, stealing bases, putting pressure to the other team. That was special. To have him in front and then Omar hitting second, it was a great time for me because every time they get on base, they're already in second base, and then Omar move it over, or maybe Kenny steal the base. So I had the opportunity to bring the RBI in there. So I was blessed to have Kenny and Omar play on my side.
You were tied together with a gentleman named Sandy Alomar Jr. From the beginning of your career. You guys come up in Cleveland. He's still there coaching. Talk to me about your relationship with Sandy.
Sandy was a special guy, and I'm gonna say something to you guys. I got to Cleveland because Sandy Alomar. Sandy, and that's what I say to these young players now. They don't realize right now to make it to the big league is easy. At that time, Sandy Alomar won 2 MVPs in AAA, and he still was in AAA. He wasn't in the big leagues. So it was a tough time before to make it. So when we got traded to Cleveland, Sandy won the Rookie of the Year. He started making All-Star games, stuff like that. He started getting hurt. You remember that he got hurt one on the knee, and then the second one, and then his back. And you remember that he came back from his injury, and the first day he blocked the ball got in the middle, and this thing opened like, oh my God, I never see anything like that before. So he got a bad luck. But that guy was a special player that we have here. And you guys watched it in 97, you remember? 97, he was the MVP of the All-Star game. And that year, that was the year they hit a homer against Mariano Rivera. You remember that? Yeah. So that kind of player was Sandy Alomar. Boy, he was hurt all the time. Let me tell you something. Cleveland had to be proud of that team that we have in 1995. We already had 3 guys in the Hall of Fame. Eddie Murray in that lineup that year. Dave Winfield played with us, Hall of Famer. Gene Tomey is a Hall of Fame. Omar is going to be a Hall of Fame. Kenny Lofton is going to be a Hall of Fame. Albert Bell is going to be a Hall of Fame. That's 7 already. Manny Ramirez is going to be a Hall of Fame. That's 8. Dennis Martinez is going to be a Hall of Fame, and Oro Hershiser is going to be a Hall of Fame. There's no a team in Major League history that in 1 year had that much talent in the field in front of you guys, friend. You guys have to be proud of 1995.
Well, Carlos, you left somebody out on that 1995 team that I think should be in the Hall of Fame too. What do you guys think? Carlos Baerga, Hall of Fame?
Thank you.
You mentioned a few names. I want to get to 2 of them, which, growing up a baseball fan in a good Christian household, my parents weren't exactly thrilled to be following some of these guys. First one, Manny Ramirez, and everybody knows Manny being Manny. Talk to me, he was a young puppy when he was in that dugout with you guys in the locker room. Talk to me about what, maybe a time or 2 you had to teach Manny Ramirez something special.
In our team, the best talent I ever seen in my life. I remember the day that he signed, 60 years old. They bring him to the press conference, and we was playing in Cleveland that day. And I remember they bring him to take batting practice with us. And he started hitting homer, right field, center field, left field, so easy, 60 years old. And we went like, wow, this is unbelievable. I never played with anybody that worked harder than Manny Ramirez. He don't like the press. He don't like to talk to the press. He don't like the awards. I saw Manny Ramirez. Remember that I played with Cleveland, and then I played with Boston with him. Manny wins so many awards. You know who Manny gives the awards? To the bad boys. Take it with you. Take it with you. Go get it. He don't like that. He played the game. He loved the game. That's all. But people don't understand Manny Ramirez. That guy was at the ballpark at 10 o'clock in the morning, working out, go hit in the cage, go back home, eat something, go fall asleep, and then come back to the ballpark at 2 o'clock to take batting practice, stuff like that. Nobody do that. I never do that before. But Manny, he do it quietly, by himself. He don't let nobody know the way he works and stuff like that. But that guy cared. That guy, every time he stepped in the field, was one of the best players. That's why he's one of the best right-handed hitters of the game. I know that he made a mistake using that thing that I don't know why he need to use it, because this guy, he was 60 years old, his power was unbelievable. But those are the mistakes that we make, in life. But you know what? That's why I say we have one of the best lineup in the game, because Manny was one of the most special guys that I ever played with.
And there's another guy who I dressed up for Halloween 4 years in a row, thankfully in East Palestine and not Cleveland, Albert Bell. Tell us some stories about Albert that doesn't have to be him beating up the thermostat in the club.
Albert was the most intense player that I ever played with. One of the story. Albert went 0 for 8. 2 games that he don't have base hit. Getaway day in Texas. I remember we lost the game. Everybody take a shower. We put the suit. We went to the bus. It was a getaway day. We was coming back to Cleveland, and everybody waiting for Albert Bell. Albert was in the batting cages. We were so pissed off on him. You want to go home? What are you doing? No, I need to work. He did it like 5 times. 5 times he did it. That's the kind of player he was. He don't like to be, he don't like to miss a bat. He don't like anybody to mess around when he's working out. He do everything with a purpose. He do everything counting. He do the same thing every day. So he don't let nobody to mess with him for his work. The press, they like to see what he write down all the time. So he tried to see all the books that he have in there. He have a book from each team, they face each pitcher, stuff like that. This guy prepared himself to be the hitter that he was. That's why that year that he don't win the MVP, he deserved to win the MVP that year. You remember the 50-50? That was a special year for him, but they don't give it to him. You know why? Because he don't talk to the press. So did you sign to talk to the press or to produce runs? I don't understand. But that's what happened with Albert Bell. But that guy was a special guy. Wow. I was blessed to have him behind me. I never see anybody like him. It was unbelievable.
All right, and then I want to shift things over because you faced a lot of unbelievable pitchers, Hall of Fame pitchers in your career. I want to know, who were the toughest pitchers you ever faced?
Tougher pitchers, please don't laugh. Gene Abbott. You remember the no-hitter? Gene Abbott was one that got me out all the time, and Roger Clemens. But I hit some good ones.
Yeah.
I still the only player in Major League Baseball history with more than 20 at-bats that never strike out against non-Ryan. The only player over 20 at-bats that never strike out. And I hit a homer my first time at-bat. And I hit over 400 against him. Pedro Martinez, I hit over 400. Randy Johnson, I hit over 389, 390. So, both Roger Clemens and Gene Abbott were the toughest pitchers that I ever faced.
If you were to give advice, and you do it a lot, I see it, all the stuff that you do on YouTube, on podcasts. If you're going to give advice to a young player right now, whether they're in T-ball, whether they're in the minor league system, what would you give them to keep on trucking?
Don't let anybody decide what you want to be in life. You have the opportunity to do it. And when I start talking, I do a lot of clinics. That's what I like to do, and I like to motivate players, young kids, stuff like that. And I say to them, you know what, when I bring the history of Jose Altuve, they went to 4 tryouts, and he got sent back home because nobody liked him because he was too little. When I talk about Jose Ramirez, a little guy, he have a big heart, we are blessed to have Jose Ramirez in organization. I don't know if you guys are happy to have Jose Ramirez. One of the best players of the game. But this guy walked like he's 6'7". You see the way he walked? Huh? Like an attitude. I would like to have 20 players like him in my team. Because he showed the pitcher, I got the bat, you got the ball, but I'm going to kill you. That's the kind of attitude we used to have in 1995. And in our team, we got good players, but we need that. We need that fire. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about? That fire that Jose Ramirez have, not too many players have, so we are blessed with that. So I say to the young kids, no matter how high you are or small you are, if you have the desire, the passion, and determination to do something in life, believe in yourself. No matter how many times you fail, you can get up and win something in life. That's the kind of thing that I talk about.
A couple more questions up here, and we'll take some from the crowd. Carlos, do you have any regrets about your career?
Yes, I made so many bad decisions off the field. I'm in the Hall of Fame with the Cleveland Indians. But I think if I take care of myself when I have to do it, when I was playing, I will be in the Hall of Fame, the building Hall of Fame, where, that it's hard for me. I remember that I went to see Jim Thome in Cooperstown, and I started crying. I started crying because I see my Jim Thome there getting that the plaque, and I started crying. Things went through my mind. I said, wow, all the time that wasting time that I did, all going outside, going out, drinking, women, stuff like that. I almost lost my family. I made so many bad decisions in my life that I regret that. But now I use it to talk to the young kids. What they're gonna face after you sign. People, they're gonna come to talk to you about, let's do this, let's do that, but they gonna take time away from you to work, to prepare yourself to play the game, to win something in life, to become somebody in life. And that's something that I know that if I put my head in the game, the way I started in my first couple years, I was in the Hall of Fame with the Cleveland Indian hand. But that was a little bit.
We're proud of you. We're proud of you. And then finally, give it up. You got down, you got back up, buddy. Practicing what you preach. I love it. A lot of great memories in Cleveland. A lot of them. Is there one that stands out to you at the top of the list that you cherish forever?
Just winning that game in Seattle to go to the World Series. I'm never gonna forget about that. We know we were facing the best pitcher of the game. We know Seattle was playing good baseball. They beat the Yankees. You remember that they came back and beat the Yankees, losing the series 3-1. They win 3 in a row to go to the World Series. They was playing good baseball. Randy Johnson was pitching unbelievable. And I'm never gonna forget about that. That was something amazing that we have. And to see that ballpark packed every day, the fans, everywhere we go, we cannot even go out to eat anywhere here. We don't even pay for anything. Anywhere, any restaurant we go, the people love the Cleveland Indians 1995.
We love them. That's why we love them.
Yeah.
All right, let's take some questions from the crowd. Anybody got a question? Jim, somewhere around here.
I'll start with the first one. There were a couple players he didn't mention, and I'd like to know if maybe this movie affected them. His teammates Pedro Serrano, Roger Dorn, Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn, Willie Mays Hayes. The movie Major League, Carlos, it was made about the Cleveland Indians being a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
Did you guys take offense to that?
Not really, because that was before us. When we came in, that was in 1990, that was when the movie came out in there, but it wasn't about us. We changed the history. We start playing better, we bring the fans to the ballpark, and and we make it to the playoff. And I think from that year, from 94 on, we was in the playoff almost all the time. So that was a special time for us. That give us
A little swagger.
Yeah. It helped us out to believe and to change the history of what happened with Cleveland.
All right, who's got the next question?
They filmed that in Milwaukee, so it wasn't the Indians. Now, Jimmy, you know I don't need a microphone, but now this is something that pissed me off about the Cleveland Indians. Years ago when they went from Cleveland to the Guardians. I know it might be political. What's your opinion on that? If it was up to me, it'd still be the Cleveland Indians.
For me too. For me too. I've been saying that everywhere I go. I don't know why they changed the name because the Kansas City Chiefs still there. The Atlanta Braves, they still doing that stuff. So I don't understand why the change of the name when the history. And you know when you know about it, when we put somebody in the Hall of Fame, we have to say Cleveland Guardians. I don't understand. Yeah.
Who's next?
Jim, I don't need that. I don't need that. So everybody here. So Carlos, I shared with you earlier, I know you're going to be part of this year's club, helping out on the radio or TV side, right?
Yeah.
Now, I asked you earlier, up at the field now, they're going through all kind of renovations. Talk to us a little bit about what you've seen so far up there, so we as fans can be excited about it.
No, the ballpark, they put in so many new things in there. I remember last year, they have a side on the left field side, on top over there, you're gonna have a big bar open that you can sit down over there and watch the game. Now it's gonna be our clubhouse. It's gonna be the longest clubhouse I ever seen in my life. It's from here to, where the parking lot is over there. The clubhouse is gonna be that long, a weight room, everything is gonna be there. In right field, they build a new thing upstairs too, so you can bring corporate people. They can bring the guys that work with you guys, to have fun over there. It's beautiful. They build some new things, new seats. I don't know if you go to downtown and you look from center field to the dugouts. All the seats are blue now with a sea in the middle. Very nice. So there's some new renovation in there. So it looks really nice. The offices, the front office, they're new too. So everything is beautiful. Very nice. It's new.
Who's next? No more questions for Carlos? We got one over here.
Hi. I work with teenagers a lot, and one of my favorite interview questions is, would you rather work for a winning coach that is mean, or a nice coach that loses? So I want to ask you that.
You know what? I always say, I like that coach. They grab a team that maybe doesn't have the talent and make them to be a winner. That coach, there's a lot of coaches, they go to manage a team that they're already all-star guys, MVP guys, stuff like that. And you know what? They lose. You know why they lose? Because they don't play together. They got egos. You got so many egos. But when you have a team that you start building them up the way you are as a manager, when the season is over, you're gonna know how that thing is gonna finish. And they're gonna finish winning, and that's the best thing that I have. I like a manager. As a manager, I manage in Puerto Rico, and I win my first year. And I was a manager that, I got my door open, I talked to everybody. It's hard to be a manager now. These young players, they think they know everything. They think they deserve everything. Right now, the game changed so much, and I'm telling you guys, a lot of people in the front office don't like when I talk like that, but I have to say, they make so much money, and they hurt all the time. We play hurt. You gotta remember when I got hit in my mouth that I lost all my teeth, and we don't have nobody because Alvaro Espinosa got hurt the night before, and we don't have nobody, and I stayed there, played from the third inning through the ninth, went to the hospital, got through root canal, and I played the next day. We don't have that anymore. The guy got hit in the mouth, he don't play for a month. Do you know how many players are hurt from the 12th of February, spring training, through March 15th? Today what, 17? 18? 300 players hurt. 17 Tommy Johns already. There's players, they have 5 at bat, 6 at bat, 10 at bats in spring training because they're hurt. I don't understand. I don't understand this game. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But the thing is, they pay so much money to these guys that they don't care. I got money already. They have to wait for me. No, when we play, we make some good money, but we have pride. We play the game because we love the game. I don't know if this guy loves the game. And I have to say it. But that's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's why I love Jose Ramirez. He run the base, ground ball to the pitcher, he run hard to first base. He hit a base hit, he make it a triple because he steal the base and he score from home plate, ground ball to shortstop. He then throw the ball like this to first base, he go into home plate. I want a winner like that in my team. But we don't have that many players now doing that. It's a big difference. The game now is a bit different now. Yeah.
Was that the answer you were looking for?
I don't know if he answered the question, but he turned it into a different model that we use for different questions. So, but yeah.
But I like what you say. I like what you say. I like a manager. Maybe he's not a winner, but he knows how to take care of the players. I like that kind of manager. Maybe a manager that wins so many championships, but he don't know how to treat the players. I don't want the players to be afraid of the manager. How you can play afraid? How you can, step up and every time you miss a ball, you don't even want to go to the dugout because he's gonna screen on you. I don't want a manager like that. That player don't want to play for you. He wants the year to be over to go home and play with another team. No. That's the kind of answer you want?
There it was. Jim, we got anybody else?
Carlos, I want to, maybe you can elaborate on this a little earlier. We went to lunch today and you talked about the players being injured. And you talked about a gentleman that was in the Cleveland Indians clubhouse, and we were blessed to have our trainer with the Cleveland Indians, Jimmy Warfield. Maybe you want to elaborate to these guys a little bit, just what he saw in you as players coming to the field.
Right now, I was talking to him about players that I admire, like Jose Ramirez. I have to talk about him because he stayed in Cleveland. If Jose Ramirez wait one more year, he made $350,000, $350 million. But he stayed here because he loves Cleveland, his family loves Cleveland, and stuff like that. Players now, they don't have that love for the city. They want money, they want the money and stuff like that, and they like what I say, I talked to a friend of mine, Puerto Rican, great player, and I said to him, why you want to leave the place where you are for $5 more million? They offer you $200 million. Why you want to go to another place when your family is happy where they are? You have a foundation in there. You have a beautiful ballpark. You play on the like a skydome, with a roof in there, with the air conditioning. You don't play in the cold weather. You don't play in the rain when it's hot or anything like that. And the ballpark is the best ballpark because it's short in right field, short in left field. You're gonna put some numbers that when you retire, you're gonna have your name. You're gonna be in the Hall of Fame, and you're gonna be like that. And because $5 million, you want to get traded. I don't understand. You're already making money. When he signed, that guy, first round, first Latino player, first round overall. He made $5 million when he signed. You already have money, and you're gonna live where your family live, where your wife, the kids born in there, your wife is pregnant. Now your wife had to fly from the other place to Houston to get the, to get birth, stuff like that. It's so many things. Now the players, they don't think. They go for the money, and they forget about the family. I want my family to have peace where they are. I want to sleep in my bed. I want to have, be in a place where I feel happy. That's why I talk about Jose Ramirez all the time.
When he signed that deal, did you have any conversations with him?
We talk about it, and but a lot of players will say, don't sign, go from Cleveland, go to another place. You're gonna be better in New York with the Yankees or with the Mets, Boston, or even San Diego offering him a lot of money. So, yeah.
Any more? All right, we had a couple.
Carlos, do you have?
Hold on one second. Here we go.
Thank you. Carlos, some memories of Albert Bell in 1994 in the court bat. Were you part of that?
No.
I've heard so many stories. Which one's true?
I wasn't part of that. Like what I say, we made mistakes. Everybody made mistakes, different mistakes. And I know that he don't need it either. Albert was one of the strongest guys that I ever played with. But somebody gave him one, and he feels so good about it. And then he did it. But after that, he's keep hitting homers. So there was a mistake that we made, but I wasn't part of that. No.
What was it like in the locker room after that? Because was it Grimsley that was crawling through the air ducts?
Crawling through I remember that was in Chicago, but it was crazy. Albert was like that, man. Yeah.
All right, we got one more question down here to wrap it up.
When you were growing up, who was your favorite team?
My favorite team was, my father was the Yankees. He was a Yankees fan. His favorite player was Mickey Mantle. That's why he put me to hit from both sides of the plate. So, yeah.
All right. Well, before we wrap things up, we have a very special presentation. So we're going to bring up Mark Cole, the president of AGE, and he'll take it from here. Dude, thank you so much. How about a round of applause for Mr. Baerga?
Oh, no.
Mr. Cole?
All right, from everyone here at the Austintown Generational Enrichment Corp, we just want to thank you so much for coming on out tonight. This was an awesome evening to hear all about you and that, and we just wanted to give you this plaque to just say thank you from us here. So, congratulations and thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And now, if we could go ahead and have Monica Devers and Robert Santos come up, our Austintown trustees. They're going to go ahead and give you another little something.
Yeah. Oh. Somebody that can take a picture. Jim, can somebody take a picture?
First, thank you for letting us have us come here today. Our counterpart, Trustee Bruce Sheppis, wishes he was here today. However, he is currently the treasurer of the FOP, and they require him to be there to do some accounting. Apparently, he's the only individual who can add down there. So he senses our appreciation, and he apologizes for not coming here today. But on behalf of the Austintown Township trustees, myself, and Trustee Monica Devers, we want to definitely congratulate you on your many, many accomplishments and everything you do, not just for the local community, but nationwide and even worldwide. We know you do a lot of fundraising for kids to help them find the opportunity of what they can do to get away from everything and kind of pursue their career. So on behalf of the Austintown Township trustees, we want to present you with this proclamation, on your many successes, and we wish you many more in your future. So thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
Whatever, I came here to have fun with you guys, don't to get this, but you know what, like what I said before, I'm blessed to play for one of the best teams they ever put the uniform on. And I was blessed to be a Cleveland Indians. I always gonna say it. To be a Hall of Famer from the Cleveland Indians is an honor. I'm still working for them. I had the opportunity to go to work in another place and I said, no, I don't go nowhere. I love it here. This is my city. This is my family. You guys make me so happy. Every time that I stop to eat somewhere, people come up and remind me so many good things. So blessed to everybody. It was an honor today to take pictures with you guys over there. If I haven't done it with you guys, I still can do it. No problem with me, okay? Thank you for having a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Carlos Baerga. Just a reminder, you can take pictures and have autographs signed with Carlos over there if you haven't already. We're going to be, Jimmy's going to be doing the 50-50 as well. So thank you so much for coming out. We're so appreciative, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time. God bless.